equations of cubic graphs, basically you have one formula to know, but there are different other variations on how I can ask that question as well. But if they give me x-intercepts and a point, it's very similar to the x-intercept and points that you get when you do parabolas. Please remember, in exam, every exam, you will also be asked to get the equation of a parabola. You could, I don't know. You could be asked, and then you've got to know if the x-intercepts are given, the formula you use is x minus x1, x minus x2. That would be for a parabola. Now you just need another x-intercept because you're busy with a cubic graph. But one of the x-intercepts is also a turning point, and that's where you were taught then it's actually a bouncy graph when you did your quadratic inequalities. So when you substitute it in, you're going to have plus 3 twice. So when you substitute into the equation, y equals to ax, x, x, you're going to substitute that value of x with positive 3. Remember the formula says change the sign. We've spoken about this a few times. Are they allowed to give you this formula but give it to you with pluses there, plus there, plus there, plus there? You've got to know to still change the signs. Okay, so if they do that, you know. So, and then the next or the last one that you've got to substitute is plus 1. All of those signs must change. How many variables in this expression? Equation? Only one. How do I find one variable?
Substitute a point.
Which point?
That's right.
The y-intercept, which is 0, 18, not 18, 0, please. Do you have a look at my graph and tell me if it's definitely not according to scale. Look at this 1 and 18. Is that okay? Remember, sketch are not according to
Scale.
Right? So if I do substitute the y with the 18, the x with 0 everywhere, what's going to happen to the sum? You can work out our a value. Okay, so we have 3 times 3 times 1. Am I right? Because add them is 3 times 3 times 1, which gives me 9 times a. And to find my a value, we divide by 9 to get to 2. The fact that a is positive, does that correlate with the sketch? Because it has to be a positive a value to first increase, decrease, increase. We know that must be positive. At least I know it's positive. What the exact number, I don't know. If it was negative, you had to know that there's a problem. So, do I have the equation? Because the question said find me the equation. Still don't have it, you've got to go and write it down as y equal to 2 x plus 3, x plus 3, x minus, x plus 1. Then you never ever leave it that way, especially not in this case, but never ever in the parabolas as well. Were you ever allowed to leave it in x-intercept form? Never, whether they say anything or not. You have to time it out, and the same thing here, has to be timed out. Parabola in turning point form is acceptable, unless they ask it ax squared plus bx plus c, then you've got to time it out anyway. According to this sum, I need to see the a, b, c, d, because they said so. So in any case, I've got to time it out. Come what may, you've got to time it out. Please be careful about that. Everything's got to be timed out. Do I time the 2 with everything? No. So I'm going to time in the 2 here, and it depends on where you want to start. I'm going to time the 2 in with this bracket. I'm going to time these 2 together, and then I'm going to time out those 2 answers. Anything goes, but just don't do it twice. Don't put that 2 in somewhere else as well. So for the FOIL, this is going to be x squared plus 3x and plus 1x is plus 4x, and plus 3 times plus 1 is plus 3. Guys, please don't be cute in an exam. Rather show me all your steps. Rather show me how you did plus 3x plus 1x. It's better. Don't make mistakes. Then we have to time in distributively a 2 term with a 3 term. So I'm going to time the 2x with everything and the 6 with everything. Answer is, for the x timed in, it's 2x to the 3 plus 8x squared plus 6x plus 6x squared. Agreed? Yep, plus 6x squared plus 24x plus 18. When I add that all up, the like terms, the x squares will give me 14x squared, and this will give me 30x, and then the plus 18. I'm very happy about the plus 18. Why? Because I know that that has to be the y-intercept. If everything worked out logically and without cooking it right, I'm kind of like feeling yes, maybe I didn't make a mistake. Answer the question, that's it. Question 6 is there a mistake? 2x cubed. Oh, thank you. What would they have done to me if my paper had that now?
Follow up.
Most probably, they wouldn't have deducted a mark. Because everything is fine and they can see I actually just made a slip, and then they very often write this there on the paper. The child made a slip. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So, there is some leniency somewhere. Alright, number 6.2 said, if this graph is moved so that the local maximum, now you know about local is lekker. Local maximum, and the new word that they're using here means what? If I had a parabola, that's a smiley face, I would talk about a minimum. If it had a frowny face, I would talk about a maximum. But in a cubic graph, can I really say that this is the maximum? No, because there it's going way much more to infinity. And this, the minimum, again, because I'm going way down here to infinity as well. Because it is a turning point, they want to talk about a maximum and a minimum, but it's only locally. There where it is, it's a maximum, and locally, here's a minimum. Are you with me?
Yes.
So they say, if the local maximum is moved 3 units to the right, then where's that local maximum going to be then?
0.
On the origin. So it moved 3 units to the right. I think the question said it's moved onto the origin. So it moved 3 units to the right. Then they say, please give me the new formula if that has happened. Now, please don't try and work with this one. We go back again to the original one with the x-intercepts. Because in the x-intercepts, you would have had that A, very importantly. What is A? If this graph moves to the right and the left, is the A going to change?
No.
What does the A do? It tells you how steep or well, whatever, especially think about the parabola. That A value, ax squared plus bx plus c, tells you how fat or thin it is. So wherever in your graphs, that A will stay the same. Whether you put it in x-intercept method, or you put it into ax squared plus bx plus c, or you put it into the turning point, the A is always the A. Have you noticed that?
Yes, ma'am.
That A will always be the same. So for this A, it'll still stay 2. But what's changing?
It's the x-intercept.
Your x-intercepts are now going to be, if this thing moved to the origin, what is your origin x value there?
0.
And you've got to still do it twice because it's still the turning point. But where's the other one going to be? It's going to be at 2 there, which you then simplify, substitute in here with
Minus
2, very importantly, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because everything moved to the right. Because I might have been able to work out the A value, couldn't I? If this thing moves to the right, that doesn't mean that your y-intercept, because it's on a slope, you can't say anything about the movement to the right, that one's going to be 3 units further because it's on a slope. Are you with me?
Yes.
Can't do that. So the question then also nicely for me, because it was just about a 2-mark question. Did you know to go to this one and still use the A and still then change the x's? Because then they said, you do not have to give me this new equation simplified. You don't have to, because that's what they wanted to see, whether you know where it went to. If you did simplify, this would have been x times x is x squared. It's not a major thing. 2x squared, time in with that bracket, but they don't want you to do that because they don't want to give you any marks for it. They just want to see if you knew the translation. We're trying to find equations, just like in grade 11, we sketched the stuff, we found the equations, but sometimes it's a mixed grill because it's already been sketched and I've actually already given you not all of it. So you with me? You
Yes,
need to
ma'am.
really get yourself into all the different things that can start happening. All I'm asking is for A. The question said, not on the sketch, so you've got to read, that they said if B is 0 and 9, so that means that thereby B, the y-intercept is 9.
Nine.
If it's 9, then prove to me that A is equal to 1. What must I do?
Substitute in.
Substitute B in. In what? So in other words, this y is going to be
9
and the A stays the same, and x is 0
plus 1
and 0,
minus 3.
and I'm solving for A. Can I mention it again? If there's one variable, you do it by substituting a point, right? Ma'am, what are you doing? Are you with me? You can get yourself on some bandwagon, because if I do what I'm doing there now, and substitute, what do I want to substitute? There's no x and y. Okay, the point that I was trying to make, and then I did something crazy, is if you substitute and the A or the M or the C or the Q or the whatever from whatever graph disappears, you chose the wrong point.
Points.
There was no other choice here, but if you do, please if you do and the A is missing or the whatever you're looking for is missing, choose another point. Okay, so let's finish up with this one before I go crazy again. 1 times with 9, right? Because it's first exponents and then timing. 9 times 1,
9.
stay 9 times A, and the answer for A is
1.
fantastic. They said prove that it is A. So you're not going to get a mark for A is equal to 1 because they told you it must be 1. The mark that you're going to get is for knowing that you should substitute it and showing how you got there.
Yes, ma'am.
That will be your 2 marks or whatever. And also it helps if you're in a test, they tell you that this is a 2-mark question. Then you wouldn't go flying off the handle and doing an enormous thing for 2 marks. And you start thinking, well, it's got to be something easy. The next one, I also only left a little bit of space, so that indicates something to you. Because A and D are the
X-intercepts.
x-intercepts. How do I find x-intercepts? Okay? It's here, but normally, if it's not here, how would I find the x-intercepts?
Oh.
I need you to know the tool that you have. What are you going to use it for? So to find your x-intercept, that's where you need the remainder and factor theorem. That whole remainder synthetic division thing, Beckman, that man calls it, that you're going to work with to find your x-intercepts. But man, why are you crazy again? I got it. I know that those answers are -1,
Positive 3.
+3, and it's got to be a bouncy there, everything falls into place. So that's why the question would have just been 2 marks. A is -1, 0, and D is 3 and
0.
no calculations whatsoever. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, then they say, if C is a local maximum, okay, makes sense, this would be the local minimum, they want me to find H and K, just another way of saying, go find me that maximum. But they're calling it H and K, so let's humor them and answer H and K at the end. But how do I find a, what? Turning point? By? Derivative, so derivative. Can't get it. And in actual fact, I should have written here the actual equation for fx is 1 times x plus 1 times x minus 3 squared, because I already found it. They never asked me for it, but I could have written it here, that I actually have the equation. So then I've got to still time it out, because like in the small little derivatives that we've been doing, I could have asked you this question. First you got to time it out, then you do the derivative, because you need separate terms. No variables underneath in the denominator, no roots, no whatever, all those rules. So here I've got to time out the brackets. Whichever one you choose to use first, doesn't matter. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Guys, please don't try and impress me and make mistakes. Rather, time it, write it out twice, rather show yourself how you timed it out, how you got to that answer. If you are sure of what you're doing, I'm happy with it, very well done, but it's not very well done if you make mistakes by doing it too fast. Timing it in again is going to be times the x with everything. X to the 3 minus x squared plus 9x. Time it in again is plus x squared minus 6x plus with 9. And then when I add like terms, this gives you negative 5x squared plus 3x plus 9 does help me smile a little bit. And it's not necessarily always given. So you wouldn't have had that opportunity there. Done?
No.
No, what am I looking for? Because I'm so happy I've got an answer. Then I go to the next sum. What am I looking for? Turning point. And for the turning point, you need to do
Derivative.
the derivative and put it equal to
0.
How come? Because where it turns, the gradient is 0. The gradient goes positive, 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 negative, 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 positive, positive. But where it turns, the gradient is 0. For knowing that should be a mark. Then we do the derivative. What is it? Oopsie. I saw you saw that. Oopsie. So it's going to be 3x squared minus 10x plus 3. It's not always equal to 0 unless you're busy with a turning point. The gradient you can work out in every point, any point, by using this formula. This formula will get you the gradient in any point. Where x is 7, where x is 700, where x is negative 16. You can find the gradient using this formula, substituting the x with whatever. But only the gradient is equal to 0 is where it's turning. Okay, now we need to factorize again. Let's do our old friend James Bond. 3 and 3 again. Cross multiplication to get to negative 10. You get x minus 3 and 3x minus 1, meaning x is either equal to 3 at the turning point or x is equal to a third. Happiness for us again. Why?
Because of the 3.
I know that it has to be 3, the one of the answers. So the other one then is the one I'm looking for. So the question was h and k. So this is h, eh? If I want to already. But how do I find the corresponding y value?
Just substitute
In where?
in
The original one. So I can go here, there if you want to, and I can go to this one, it doesn't matter. So let's just be different. If I go there, it's going to be a third plus 1 and a third minus 3. And I'd like you to check up on me. If you substitute your x there, there and there with a third, if your answer is the same as this, obviously it's going to be. It's just different ways of writing that equation. Please give me an answer. I think it was 200 and something over 27 if I can remember correctly.
256 over 27.
Sounds right, thank you. So it's a terrible. Give me a decimal answer there, please.
It's 9,48.
4,
8.
48, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Which makes me feel good. Because if that y-intercept is 9, and this is going a little bit higher, at least it should be more than 9. It's not much more than 9, but it is more than 9. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I answer the question?
No.
Nope. There goes my marks. Please tell them that h is a third and that k is whichever one you want to use. That one's more accurate because remember the moment you round off it's not as accurate as it was. Or you could even have written c's coordinates there as well. But they didn't want that, they just wanted h and k. Answer the question.